fresh out the shower. Excuse me, Grease and Ninja here. But you see why Boots ain't want none with y'all see why Boots ducked Brian Norman Jr. You see why he ain't want none of Brian Norman. You see what he did to Jin Sasaki? You see what he did to Jin Sasaki? That was like Jin Sasaki was like, Jin from Tekken. See how he put hands, foots, and toes on Jin Sasaki first round. Pop, 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 boop, 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 boop. Dropped him. And you notice that's why they went to Japan. That's why they went to Japan. They went to Japan because they knew this was a sweet lick. They got compensated a lot of money. It was an experience, They knew this was easy money. He got knocked out by Andy Hiroka, which they called out on True School Sports Channel. Andy Hiroka is a Ghanaian Japanese fighter. He's really, really good, really tall, 140. Seemed like he got the frame to grow into 147 pounds. I think he's one of the best kept secrets in the sport of boxing. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think he's one of the best kept secrets in the sport of boxing. So, like I continue to say, I feel him. I definitely feel him, but you got to get easy money. It was a quick way to turn around and stay fairly active. They turned around and they stayed active. I think they had just fought in March, come back in June. I mean, the hand was kind of messed up. Seemed like they worked on technique. It seemed like his son is starting to slow down and listen. And, a lot of times you hear some of them sparring stories that his son had and running through Bud and running through Tank. And you feel like you can run through all these guys. You know what I'm saying? You just feel like you don't have to listen. You can power through. And I always make the analogy about a power pitcher. A power pitcher think, hey, man, my fastball can beat everybody. Not to, a lot of times it all boils down to when their arm go out, then they all of a sudden their arm start hurting. They figure out, guess what? Or they start getting lit up. They figure out that, hey, I got to throw change of speed pitches. And for a lot of fighters who's gifted with power, speed, athleticism, or a combination of some of those things, they legit think they can just power through. They legitimately think they can just power through. They can power through any and everything. And it doesn't work that way. And when you see Brian Norman, I never thought his defense was horrible. I said that before. I've seen him have good defense, move his hands, I just thought he had lapses. But in this fight, he kept his hands up. His hands was fast, accurate. He was very reactive. He's showing the ability to box. He's very reactive. So when Jin Sasaki, would, get aggressive or make a mistake and drop his hand, Brian Norman, he was able to see it and he was able to exploit it. He was able to see it and he was able to exploit it. So when you're able to see it and you're able to exploit it, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing I think people don't talk about, being able to see in boxing. Pernell Whitaker had those big ass eyes. Rest in peace to him. He can see it. Brian Norman, he was seeing things very, very well. And I mean, Jin Sasaki's the most athletic fighter in the world, but he had heart. He strapped his nuts on. He got hurt and he dug deep and he kept coming forward. He landed some good shots and Norman balled up a little bit, but Norman was the superior fighter. Speed, length, reach, power. It just, even if it wasn't, he had to reach a high, power. It just seemed like he just was the bigger and more superior fighter. That's just what the perception of this fight was. And, like I continue to say, man, he knocked him out cold. He knocked him out ice cold. He asked for a deal. His people put the money up for the deal, and he iced him. He iced him. He iced him. And I don't think anybody pretty much thought anything less in this particular fight would happen. This is why they went over there. This is why they went over there to take the fight. They knew they was going to win this fight. I mean, the punch that he sent him to the upper, damn near sent him to the upper room. I mean, it was a case to be made that, in reality, they probably should have called that fight off. They should have threw the towel in. They probably should have threw the towel in. That may be the reality of it. And clipped him with a left hook. Catch him. He caught Jin Sasaki pulling out. He threw a lazy jab to the body, and he pulled straight out with his head up. He should have just stayed low. It was just a difference in caliber. It was a difference in caliber. Let me say that again. There was a difference in caliber of fighter there. Norman is a top welterweight right now. Jin Sasaki is probably happy to be within the top 20. That's just the reality of it. He should be happy to be in the top 20. Let's keep it real. He should be happy just to be in the top 20. So I feel people, bro. I really do. I get it. But, Norman is getting better, but also they microdosing him in opponents. You know, so he ain't a world beater. He ain't a world beater. To be a world beater, you got to be other top guys. And, at the end of the day, the other top guys out there, you know what I'm saying? It ain't that thick. It ain't that thick. So, an opponent will arise. When you look at the champions at the division, start looking at Boots is gone, so we don't know who's going to be top 2, who's going to be the top guys, IBF, WBA, and Barrio. So it's really a clear open division. You're going to have Teofimo Lopez coming in there, which he already didn't want to fight Norman. And I'm understandably so from Teofimo perspective. I mean, high risk, low reward. We get that. We get that. High risk, low reward. So then you move on, and he called out Pacquiao. I'll talk about that in a separate video. The next day or two, I don't know, might be the next video. I don't know. I haven't really given much thought. But this just tells you that they working on things in the gym, and this is the type of work they should have done. This is the type of work they should have done leading up to a title fight, but they rushed him. Remember, they was trying to release him. That's what they brought him to fight that one guy to lose. What was the dude's name? He ain't even ranked no more. Oh, yeah, Giovanni Santanina. He was brought there to lose. He was brought there to lose. So happened, for the most part, he became champion. He just fucked around and became a champion. So when you start talking about that, it is what it is. So now we got to kind of, make up for lost time as a prospect and make it up right now. And it's paying dividends. I feel like a champion should be ready, or a title holder should be ready all the time. I get it. But, right now the division is wide open. If they can continue to make the weight, they can just put, they can just stack longevity together. They can just stack longevity, fight after fight after fight. But this fight, what it pretty much proved to me, he's getting better. They're working on offense. They're working on defense. He working on keeping his hands up. You got to remember, I think the kid only 23 years old. So they working on all types of things right now. So, you know, but for the most part, you know, it was a good performance. Now, can I say, this puts him in the pound for pound list? No. You know, we'll see. He has some guys coming up in Tia Female and Devin Haney coming up into his division. We'll see what he can cook up. So appreciate y'all. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Next subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We go live and drop video. I appreciate y'all for supporting the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Peace.